YouTube Nation, Manfit TV, aka Me TV, aka the Zombie Slayer. Look, man, I see zombies all around me. It doesn't even matter where it's at, whether it's here on the internet, about the gaming community, or outside in the real world, man. All I do is just keep seeing zombies. I just don't understand it. But you know what? Today is not about complaining about the community. It's not about complaining about the real world. We're going to talk about something that gaming hasn't done in a long time, and that's a celebration. That's right, about having fun. And I want to congratulate Telltale Games on such a great game with The Walking Dead. All right, you guys and girls over there, Telltale Games, put on a great display of what it means to have a game that we haven't had in a long time, an emotional roller coaster that just grabs at you, you know, your heartstrings just tugs at it and just won't let go. It is a great thing to see games like this come out and, you know, fly, you know, it flew under the radar, but it still exceeded games like Call of Duty and things like that. I love to see these type of things. This is what variety has always been about, people. And I will go on to say this. This is how great I like the game, okay? I will say it is the Resident Evil Outbreak of this generation. That's right, because it's instilled that world of zombies, that world of The Walking Dead, but it's an offshoot to other characters that you don't see. And that's the beauty of it. They created characters. It's still a fish out of water scenario, but it's still a great thing. Now, I want to put it like this. People, we need to get into the technical aspects first of this game. So I want to get into this because I had a lot to say and a lot to have to respond to, apparently, you fans, with questions and statements. So the technical aspects of the game, the graphics, I felt cell shading, the way they went about it was a great thing. It's unique. I mean, I know we've seen it in games before, but it's great to see that they took a different approach in art design when it comes to these type, this type of game, as opposed to just going over the top with realistic graphics and things of that. It's great to see the way they did things. I understand they have a budget to keep too, so that could also be part of it, but it was still great to see. Now, I want to talk about the hiccups and QTEs. Now, you've seen in my gameplays, there's been a lot of hiccups, a lot of freezing, a lot of, glitches. I don't have really much of a problem with it because every game has those type of things, but understand when you're playing these type of decision games, create your own adventure games, and QTEs, freezing and stuff like that can be a big problem. You can actually end up being killed after a certain point because the timing was off, or you think you hit the button but the game froze and then it skips later. You don't know. So that is a problem. Now, a lot of you had said that the game runs smoother on a digital download, whether it's on the PlayStation, Xbox, whatever, or on the iPad. So I have to check that out and see what's going on, but I am happy that they did put it on a hard disk because that's what I want. I wanted a physical disk I can get my hands on and just play it instead of having to download episode by episode by episode, okay? So I was very happy with that. I also want to talk about the writing at times because there's some plot holes in this as well, all right? And they box you in at times. Now, what I mean by plot holes, I mean, I'll give you an example. Remember when Lee had to go back into the alley to go get the extra tape with the zombie, but there was no way out except you go through the alley where all the zombies were, but he went the opposite way where all the barbed wire was. Remember, he couldn't even get back under, where the garage was, where the truck was, because the zombies were already in there. So how did he get away? We don't know. You know what I mean? So it's like those type of things that, they make plot holes for, but we understand they have to keep the pace going with the game. They only have a certain amount of budget, but that was a big plot hole, all right? But that's just an example of what I mean. Boxing you in is what I want to talk about a little bit later, okay? I will explain that in detail later. Now I want to move on to fan questions because this is very interesting. When you said, which part of the game made you laugh and why? All right, well, first off, I have to say the ongoing joke with Carly not being able with the batteries, I thought that was pretty funny. Omid's comic relief was really funny for me. I mean, you have to have a comic relief in those type of pressure situations so that it keeps the player honest. You can't just always be tense all the time when something happens. You have to be able to laugh at things. They do this in a lot of horror movies, a lot of zombie movies as well, all right? If you notice, I believe Friday the 13th, when it got serious, there were definitely times where it gave you an ounce of comedy before someone would die. So it was really funny to see those type of things. And of course, Freddy did it every once in a while, but then Freddy became a caricature, I should say, of the character, because all of a sudden everything was over the top with Freddy Krueger. Same thing with Child's Play, where they had a comical line here or there, and all of a sudden it just turned into just over the top comedy. You couldn't take those villains or killers seriously anymore. All right, so I want to say an unintentional laugh. The best one had to be the bandit when he shot the other bandit in the face. When he was like, "Fuck you," and just shot him out of nowhere. That was hilarious. All right, I still to this day can still picture him doing that. It's funny. It is just so funny. And me and my friends still talk about it to this day. We still talk about it and laugh about it. So also, one of you guys said, Event, will you be playing The Walking Dead 400 Days DLC? Okay, now look, unless the developers send me a free code, alright, developers, if you're listening, unless you send me a free code, I'm not going to do it, alright? For what many of you have sent me so far, you're saying that the game is overpriced, the DLC is overpriced, and the DLC itself is way too short for the price that they want. Now, this is what you're just telling me. Now, if somebody disagrees with that, by all means, please let me know what's going on in the comments, but this is what I'm hearing so far. I would rather have it on disc anyway when it's compiled into a Season 2, so I would probably just wait just like I did this one instead of buying, like I said, episode by episode digitally. I want it on a physical disc, but we will see what happens. But developers, hey, you can send me a free code. I'll play it, and I'll review it too. I don't care, all right? Because people have to realize, this is, right now that we're doing, this is my first game review ever. That's right. Because in all these years, I've never done a game review. And then people sat here and said, oh, he's nothing but a game reviewer, and I never did one. This is my first one. Interesting. But I want to move on. The only reason I'm doing this is because of the Q&A, to be quite honest. But I do want to keep going, because one of you said, Event, will you be playing The Walking Dead Season 2? If it's anything like Season 1, yes, I will not hesitate, okay? I think the developers, like I said before, should compile it on a disc and just put it on there. Now, look, understand, this game has a lot of popularity now. It's not like when he first started. It will almost sound like a pet project, where it would come down to, let's put it out, episode by episode to see if people will really buy it. Now that you have these Game of the Year editions, and you got all the accolades with this, they can easily put this on a disc right from the start. And I want to say this, Telltale Games, all right? Because why didn't you put Jurassic Park on disc for the PS3? I don't understand this. You did it for the Xbox, you did it for the PC, but you didn't do it for the PS3. Seriously, put Jurassic Park on a disc on the PS3, and I will buy it, and play it. For first day, I will buy it and play it with no problems. All right, now, I do want to move on, because some of you said, do you think they'll pull off Season 2 well? I'm fairly positive they can do this, okay? Because if they have some strong writing, like I said, there were many plot holes in the last one, but they did a great job on this. And they have my full, utmost confidence and belief in them that they can do it again. I don't see why anybody would think they couldn't, especially after what they've done with this. I definitely would try it again. I would definitely wait for Season 2. I want to move on. You guys said, were there any choices in the game that you made you wish you could have changed? Yes. Leaving others behind to watch the boat is a big one for me. Because, to keep them out of danger, I don't know if they would have left with Vernon, or they would have either tried die defending it or getting beat up defending it. I don't know how that would have, worked out. Like I said, you saw the gameplay. That was my first playthrough. So I didn't go back and see all these things. I was very worried that the boat would be taken. But then, like I said, during the commentary, I'm like, it's fine. They would have took it out now if anything happened. I did want to leave somebody behind. I would have left Crystal and me behind, and possibly Ben. But I don't know what would have happened, in this scenario if it was just me and Kenny. I don't know how that would have played out. And I'll talk about that later, about trapping, okay? Now, one of you asked me, what was your most surprising moment during the series? Carly. Clearly, Carly. When she got shot out of nowhere, that still bothers me, all right? Was it Carly? And I'll say in the second place, I'll say Kenny. The way he went after Ben, and all of a sudden had to change your heart and was like, I can protect it. I'll try to, I'll fight defending this kid and protecting this kid just to see him get devoured by zombies. Now, as you know in the gameplay, I was saying, shoot Ben just shoot him in the head, you can't save him, and let's go. But he decided to have an emotional moment there, which really, he just seemed like he just got tired. It just seemed like he didn't want to fight anymore. He wanted to give up. And even if you watch the scene again, he shoots Ben anyway. He shoots him in the head, which he could have did X amount of minutes ago. You know what I mean? But he didn't. It seems like he just got tired. And that's sad. For me, it was upsetting. Carly and Kenny was very upsetting because I felt a good relationship with Lee, with them. You're going to hear me bounce back and forth from I and Lee, so just letting you know that now, all right? Because the player is immersed into this game. So that was my problem. All right, now Chapter 5, Part 1. At 44 minutes and 44 seconds, you asked me if Kenny was my friend. And Kenny, yes, he was my friend. Lee and Kenny have been through everything from pretty much the beginning. okay? Even though they butted heads, and Kenny at times wasn't there for me, all right, when it came to saving situations, or he would have me and drop me. We've seen this way too many times, all right? But Molly can pick me up with no problem. But they still stay true to each other. You know what I mean? Regardless of all the fighting, they still stay, to the end, they stay true to each other. It's why at the end, was it after Kenny gets devoured, when we're walking on the rooftop with Krista and Omid, I say, you know, the stranger who did this is going to have to pay for 2 lives now. Because we wouldn't be going through this, jumping from rooftop to rooftop, if it wasn't for Clementine being taken. We would have been on the boat and out of here by now. You know what I mean? We just ride off to the sunset, you know, until season 2, I guess. But that didn't happen, clearly. So, of course, I was upset that Kenny and Ben, they died for no reason whatsoever. That's how I feel. Now, overall, people are asking me my thoughts on the Walking Dead game. It was an excellent experience. Developers did a great job sucking you in. And many complained about episode 1. They were saying how it was boring and it was, you know, they couldn't get caught up in it. I think the pacing could have been a bit better on that part, but I understand why there are dry spots, all right? Because you can't have these people running, you know, all over the place, constantly in fear. It doesn't work that way. They need to take a break. They need to have a rest. So you have to have these dry spots, and during those dry spots, you have this dialogue and searching. It has to be paced that way. It has to, because not everything can keep happening all at once. If people were constantly scrambling and scrambling and scrambling throughout this whole game, they would have probably died from stress or a heart attack. Something would have happened by now, or aneurysm or something. So you have to have your dry spots, all right? So I definitely understand why the writers and developers, they did it this way. I understand. When you asked, besides Lee and Clem, which other characters did you grow a bond with? Carly, I grew a bond with. Kenny, to an extent. I'll also say Ben. All right, because I kept trying to get Ben to show what he can do. And we never got to see what Ben could do. He never proved his worth. The only time we actually saw something is when he stood up to Kenny. That was it. We did not see Ben take charge. I thought at the very least, if Ben was going to die after I saved him in the bell tower, I thought that he would go out as a warrior. You know what I mean? Just go out all out and just fight and say, hey, he's trying. That's where he proved himself. But he didn't get a chance to still. In all of this, he still didn't. And we also have to still remember, Ben is a teenager. He's a kid. So, yeah. It was kind of sad to not, you know, get that with Ben. I thought with Lily, I needed more time with Lily. You know, it's why after she shot Carly, I brought her onto the RV. Not only because I thought, as you know, we needed an extra body out there. God knows what can happen. You know, maybe it'll snap her back into place. But also to have more dialogue with her to figure out what was going on. But by the time that I, you know, got into the RV, you know, she got away. If you notice, Lily kept saying, "Come with me." She wanted Lee to come with her, because she trusted Lee. So the bond was there, but I was not going to leave all these people. That's not the right way to go about it. All right, so that's one thing. All right. Also, a double question actually. Also, would you reverse any of the roles of the characters and swap certain actions or dialogue between the cast? Yes. And you know what? This is very interesting. This is a great question because I think swapping Larry with Lily, this situation, would have been interesting, and having Larry kill Lily, his daughter, all right, in Carly's place. That's right. Out of sheer madness would have been great. I think while blaming Lee, on the side of the RV, blaming Lee instead of Ben being blamed, that would have been great. That would have been even better, a pinnacle moment than Carly just getting blasted out of nowhere. Now, if you go back and you watch that scene, you can actually see where Lily is actually getting ready to draw her gun before shooting. Of course, in the first playthrough, you don't see that. You know what I mean? Because you're so focused on everyone else and what's going on. It's very interesting to see that. So, but that's what I would have done. I would clearly swap Larry for Lily's place and Lily and Carly's place to see how that worked. And, of course, Lee with Ben. That would have been an interesting situation altogether because Larry was building up to that. But, of course, we know what happened with Larry. Now, one of you said, was it what you expected? I can honestly say the game surprised me, and I've been trying to convert more people to it. But the insanely dull, boring first episode made it difficult. I will say it exceeded my expectations because, to be quite honest, I didn't know what I was getting into when I bought the game. I didn't know. I didn't watch any gameplay on it. I saw like a trailer here and there, not much, but I didn't know what to expect. So I played the demo like months and months before that. All right, it got to it only gave you to the point where you killed killed a zombie, I believe, and I don't know. See it. with Clementine. So it goes to tell you how long ago I had played that demo and not remembered it, as opposed to when I bought the game. So I didn't really remember pretty much next to nothing about it. All right, so even the interaction with the zombie I had forgot too. So anyways, but it was quite an emotional roller coaster. I didn't think it was I would lose so many people. I didn't think that. I thought I would be able to keep us, intact. And it was all because of unorganization. People were just arguing with each other, and they were losing their cool, and they weren't following pretty much the Zombie 101 guide. I mean, seriously, Doug, stay away from windows. Stay away from them. It's not that hard. But, you know what I mean? Like, those type of things, it just happens because of the situation they put you in. But they should know better. And I put it like this, I really wanted to know more of Lee's story and see just how far it went. But after a point, it just got cut off, and I understand why, because, look, we're dealing with a zombie apocalypse here. We're not worried about side stories, but so much personal stories. I get it. There was too much going on to even flesh out Lee's story. We don't know much about him other than what happened with him, his wife, and whoever. And like I said, Carly could have cleared him, but we'll never know that now. At this point, it doesn't matter when it's pretty much hell on earth. So laws don't even matter at this point. Also, one of you had said, what do you think of the ambiguous cliffhanger pattern in the game, and even the one at the ending? Should the cliffhanger be at the end of Season 1? Yes, I'm all for it, because it keeps you wanting more. If you notice, I understand why people want closure, don't get me wrong, but it's not like it's the Resistance 2 ending, where they just shot him, and you know what I mean, and hail, and then that was it. You didn't know anything about it, and they just left you there. It wasn't like that. So, you know what happened with The Walking Dead, as opposed to, what happened with Resistance 2. That was a bit more of a shock than anything. But I purposely, when I was playing, I knew when to stop, because I was like, ooh, this looks like a good tense moment. Let me stop recording now. Not only just because of time constraints, but because I felt it left you on a cliffhanger. So I kept doing that so that people were saying, and if you look through all the videos in the comments, they're like, yeah, these damn cliffhangers. I purposely did that so that it keeps people wanting more. So I definitely understand that part. Here's a question. If you were Telltale Games, what choices in the game would you have added, excluding the one with Carly? Okay. I would have a way to save more characters, a way to save them. And this is what I mean about the trap. We're going to talk about this. It's like if you save a character in a situation, you're only delaying the inevitable, because the writers are like, okay, you save them here, but you won't be able to save them here down the line. That's what it felt like. You get what I'm saying? So even if something was, eventually it was going to happen, if somebody died, I put it like this. The game is built for you to make bonds with people, to have a relationship, just for the writers to take it away from you. That's what they're doing, all right? Because if you don't let these people get close to you and you're cutting off characters, you look like a really bad person. They want you to build those relationships, establish those trusts and friendships, only to have it ripped away from you from zombies. That's what it's all about. That's what brings the emotion on. They did the right thing at this point. Also, we said, what do you think can be done to improve the overall experience of these games? I think stronger writing, all right, like I said, we saw the plot holes. More options to push these games to the forefront, as far as I'm concerned. The game clearly, it's for people who love stories, and it's built for single player. But if we really have to talk about multiplayer, I mean, I really don't want to, but just in case if we have to talk about online, I would actually like to see an online co-op component with the same mechanics. All right, it said you only control one person, and the situations they give you, this is what this is about. The situations of who would help you and who wouldn't. And people that wouldn't help you, the consequences of that. So say if someone left me for dead and I had keys to the garage and that's the way out, and I get eaten up, and the person runs to the garage and is like, oh, wait a minute, he had the keys, I'm screwed now. And now you really have no way out. Like, those are the type of things that I would like to see an online component. Like I said, almost like how Outbreak did to an extent. They gave you a way out still in Outbreak, but also understand it's to promote teamwork. That's the thing. We don't have enough games that promote teamwork as opposed to competition. And I think The Walking Dead could take that extra step if they decide. I'm not saying I would like to see it go online. I like it as a single player. But if they had to go that step, I would love to see that. All right. Also, these type of games, they draw non-gamers out to try them. Like I can tell you how many non-gamers that I know personally that said, and I said, hey, try this game out. And they said, you know what? Okay, I'll try it out. I really don't like games. But then as they start to play, they were like, hey, I really like this game, and now they're playing it. And they're not really gamers. So it's really cool to see, that you can take a game and branch it out. You know what I mean? And without purposely trying to, like as we know, oh, we're going to dumb this down so that other people can play. No, they designed it for that everyone can like it. You know what I mean? It wasn't just, oh, it's for the hardcore gamers and it didn't have people fight over it. It wasn't about that. So it's great to see what Telltale Games did and the way they went about it and executed. There is one problem I do have is advertising. Where was the advertising for this game? Seriously, like, I don't understand why this game was not connected more with everything in the Walking Dead franchise. I don't understand this. Maybe it's just their budget; they just didn't have it. I don't know, but I would have liked to see more advertising for this. Now, I want to talk about statements and decisions, because some of you had said some things that I want to talk about, and I am not judging you on your decisions. Okay, I'm just saying these are my decisions as opposed to yours. I do not have a problem with your decisions. Like I said, this is why it's a create your own adventure game. We all have different experiences, okay? The first thing was said was the Walking Dead slowed down the time options. They need to slow it down. I'm Swedish and I can't read all the options. I think what's best until and I think what's best until time runs out. They do have different difficulty levels, but if you're still having problems on the lowest of level, that's going to be a problem. I don't know what you would want the developers to do about it, other than, you know, like I said, other than slow down the time. But then, I would just say, just take your time and focus. You can always go back and replay those scenarios if you need to. But still, don't worry about so much of the options as it is the story. Now, I understand you're saying the time with the little bar that goes down like that. I get that, all right? But you can always go back, all right? So I know you don't want to keep going back, but trust me, this game deserves a number of playthroughs anyway, due to the fact that you have different scenarios that you can go through with this game. So people die different ways, earlier, later. I mean, there's a number of things you can do. So it's always good to just go back and play. You let Clem shoot Lee. I didn't choose that. I thought it was too much for her. She shouldn't have to do that. No child should have to shoot a grown man in the head, okay? But in this point, in the stage of the game, she's going to have to do this more than just what she did against that stranger and Lee. I guarantee you, in the future, she's going to come across this even more. So I know that she doesn't want to shoot me, but she also doesn't want to see me turn to a walker as well. She just witnessed her parents as zombies. She doesn't want to see Lee do the same thing. You have to encourage her to shoot you. Not only does it, like I said, it helps her mentality when it comes to not worrying about the walkers, but also it builds her stronger so she doesn't have that fear. And I'm going to talk about that right now. Some people said that they picked the I miss you instead of don't be afraid. I personally picked don't be afraid because, like I said, in my last moments with Clementine, I'm going to try to give her advice and keep her confident on what she can do, because she's going to survive this and I'm not. That's what it comes down to. Now, I'll put it like this. I don't know why people picked I missed you. Like I said, if you did, you did. But Clementine knows how much Lee cares for her. All right? If she didn't, he would not be jumping from rooftop to rooftop, you know what I mean, to save her. And throughout this entire game, trying to save her. She knows that Lee will miss her. She knows that Lee cares. I understand you were looking more for an emotional connection, but in this point, you're trying to give characters that will move on more direction so that they can survive. It is not about emotional connection. She's already spent emotionally. She knows she's crying in front of you with the gun. There's enough emotion there, okay? Now, another person said, I picked keep your hair short. I don't know why you did that. I mean, we saw this discussion on the train with Lee and Clementine where he was cutting her hair short. He explained to her why she needs to keep her hair short. So I didn't do that. That's why I said stay away from big cities. Don't be afraid. Like, give her direction. Telling her to keep her hair short, which she already knows, it stunts the character's growth in knowledge. All right? That's all I'm going to go with that. Like I said, there are no wrong answers here, but I'm just comparing my answers to your answers. That's all it is. There's no judgments, okay? This person says, I think Yvonne is missing all the clues with Krista. I haven't heard him react to any of them since he met her in the game. I would elaborate, but I don't want to spoil anything. Okay, obviously Krista had some problems in the hospital with, corridor, with the doctor when they watched those tapes, and she was upset. Obviously something abortion related happened, okay? Now you should know, when you were talking to women who have been through abortions, you don't bring it up. You don't. You ask once, they don't want to talk about it, you leave it alone. Okay? You do not venture into that, because already these characters are already taxed when it comes emotionally. You do not need to keep prying into their lives. You never know what will happen. We saw what happened with Lily when she snapped. I do not need Krista snapping on me as well. Okay? Or not trusting me because she thinks I'm just digging into her. Remember, I kept asking her questions when we first met, and she was like, why do you keep, Why is this a problem? Why, she's trying to get to know people, but she didn't trust us enough to tell us every part of their story. Remember, they're from San Francisco. He wanted to take a cross-country trip, and that's how they got caught. And they have a dog, I believe, or something like that. That's all we really need to know. But Omid and Krista were more of a mother and father figure as it went on for Clementine than, say, if I left her with Kenny. So, there you go. Now, the next one was, and this is funny, this question, it's this comment. And of course the black man doesn't survive. Damn, that's some BS. This is laughing my ass up. Look, just be happy Lee survived to the end, okay? Be happy he didn't die in the beginning. Because that's usually what happens to us black folks in horror movies. So just be happy about that, okay? Now, I have some questions as well I would like answered, okay? Is there a way for all of them to survive this? Is the game designed for certain characters to die via situation? Is there no way around certain characters dying? Do they not grow to a certain extent? Where's Molly? I understand, and here's the thing. I want to know if she joined Vernon's crew. We know Vernon took the boat, but Molly, remember, when we were going for this stuff, Molly's like, no, you're taking me with you. She was very adamant about being taken on that boat. And then when we got back, she was like, you know what? I'm going to be on my own and survive on my own anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a change of heart out of nowhere that I did not see coming. It didn't make any sense. And then, of course, afterwards, the boat was stolen. So even if Vernon's crew, because remember, Vernon's crew, they're not a bunch of fighters, all right? These were a bunch of cancer patients, you know what I mean, who were in reform. So understand that they weren't in the greatest of physical shape. So I'm trying to figure out here if she actually joined with them or not. That's a very interesting thing. I would like to know, what happens in the future. Also, Lily. What happened to Lily after she took the RV? I don't know if she stayed countryside. We know that she can fight and that she's trained, but I would like to see more on what's going on with Lily. Maybe we'll see more in the future with that as well. What happens after Glenn, after he leaves us at the hotel? Now, we understand that Glenn is part of the main arc of, The Walking Dead. But aside from that, is he just there to make a cameo to draw the lines? Him and Herschel, actually. I would like to know if they're going to do some DLC or put part of the story, their journey before they meet, like Rick and all them. You know what I mean? I want to know if they're going to have that journey yet. So I would like to see what they were doing before, because once Glenn gets in the car, and takes off, it's like, where did he go? Does he all of a sudden just run into Rick? What happens? Do we see what happens between that time span? I would love to see that. And will these characters, will they reemerge in season 2 or in some type of DLC form or have a larger responsibility in the spotlight? I would like to know that as well. You gotta think, the original characters that we are playing with are really not around that much. The only people who are around so far that we know are Clementine, are, Lily, Krista and Omid, and I can't even say the people at the dairy farm because the zombies come and overtake them, so we can't even say that. There's really not that many left, but I wonder if they're going to branch them in, into an arc, or we'll see what happens. Now, another thing, I want to go back and talk about Kenny, because we didn't see Kenny die. Physically, we did not see Kenny die in the alley. Do I think he's dead? Yes. But I'm trying to stay positive and say that he's not dead, even though I know he's dead. Okay? He's dead. We didn't see him physically die like we saw the rest of them. I don't know if they did that purposely just to say, because Kenny's been through so much already. You don't need to see Kenny die. I'm just wondering, what the mind frame was that Kenny, like I said, other than I can only think of that he's just tired of fighting. It just made no sense for him to sit there, push Lee, lock the door, and say, okay, I'm going to fight. That made no sense. So much for our boat and our boat captain. He was so adamant on getting away. But anyway, I need to see physical proof. Now, I do want to move on to the gamer's choice, because I told you, because a lot of you have been asking me, am I going to do more playthroughs? Yes, to be quite honest, this is about as most fun as I have on YouTube as of late. When it comes to gaming, the gameplay videos are always fun for me to do. It's just a way of just having fun, and I don't have to worry about idiots acting the fool. Every once in a while, you come into my gameplay videos act the fool, but it's really not as bad as, say, if I have an opinion on X amount of subjects and then people freak out over them. So yeah, I'm going to keep doing these. I don't have a problem with it. They're fun. It seems like you people love to watch them. So, and I want to thank you for a lot of you had said, this is the best gameplay series that you've seen on YouTube when it comes to The Walking Dead, because I actually, when I do my commentary, I give you reasons on why I made those decisions as opposed to other people who don't. So I want to thank you for that. But I want to talk about the games that we can pick out of. I've had to narrow it down, because if I say, look, we're just going to pick games, we'll be here all day picking games. You know what I mean? So here's a couple of them that I picked. I know a lot of you wanted me to play The Last of Us, so that's a selection. We have Zone of the Enders HD Collection. One of you guys had asked me to drop acid and play El Shaddai. Well, look, I can't drop acid and play El Shaddai, but I can probably play El Shaddai drunk if you want every once in a while. I can do that. I can't drop acid though and do it. Some of you fans asked for Fist of North Star, so we can play that. Here's another one that some of you thought about for a little bit. I'm not going to play Ico, but I will play Shadow of the Colossus. I don't have a problem with that. Ico is just, yeah, trust me. I played Ico so many times. Trust me, it would not be fun. So Shadow of the Colossus, I have not played this game in quite a long time, since I first got it, actually. We can play Heavy Rain. That's right. Now, I've already platinumed this game, but also understand that I haven't played it since I bought it. So I ran through it pretty quick, and I had the DLC. It came for free, the DLC with it. So, yeah, so we can play that as well. Also, some of you had asked, believe it or not, Rainbow Six Vegas 2. That's right, I could play that. It's shooter, but it's still story-driven. I haven't played it in a while. I don't have a problem with that. Now, for some old school, I know this is a popular one. I don't know how I'd be able to do this at first, but Silent Hill 2. All right, and I say this due to the fact that I don't know if the HD PVR will be able to record since it's only for PS3, Xbox, and Wii. I believe there's a workaround for the PS2, but I have not tried it out yet. So we'll just leave this one out, you know, for passion. Besides, right now there's a lot of people who play this anyway, gameplay-wise. And also for our last old school game would be Fear Effect. That's right. So, and that works actually on the PS3. I can just put the PS1, you know, the uploader, super uploading scale, or whatever they want to call it, upscaler. So anyway you see it, those are the games that we could pick out of. Let me know in the comment section what you'd like for me to see. Like I said, I don't have a problem. I know many of you have already been asking about The Last of Us. I don't have a problem playing that. Some of you saying it's really long, but you know, I don't care if it's long or not. Seriously, I would have fun with it. I would have fun with all these. So those are the selections. By all means, take your time and pick. And this has been a great experience. Walking Dead, Telltale Games, you have done a great job. All right, I'm very proud to say that I bought this game and that I enjoyed the hell out of it. I would recommend this game to anyone who is a gamer or a non-gamer because it's about immersion. That's what it's about. It's a great game. Telltale Games, my hat's off to you. Seriously, you did a great job. That's what games are supposed to be about. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.